held that I should share a little dream of mine with all of you. I've always dreamt that I would grace the stage of a popular New York venue and utter the words, "Live from New York, it's Saturday night." However, this is not the Saturday Night Live stage, and this is not Saturday night. But it is a stage in New York, and it's almost the weekend. So I'm going to go for it. Live from New York, it's Friday morning. So good morning, everyone. My name is Leonard, and I will be your MC for this morning's event. I am the GALAXE Conference Chair, and I have been for the past 2 years. And I'm so thrilled that you've all joined us today. You could have been anywhere this morning, but you've chosen to be with us, and I thank you for that. On top of being the conference chair, I've been the president of the Halifax chapter of GALAXE for the past few years. And we have a few of our Halifax members here with us today. We have many of our Halifax folks watching back in Nova Scotia as well. And I'm excited to see that we have quite a few of our Canadian GALAXE and TWA members that have joined us here today. So a big round of applause for all of them. Many of you are local here to Rochester, so thank you for coming out. And many of you have traveled in from all over the country, whether it be many miles or many kilometers. We're excited that you're here this morning. So this is the second consecutive year that GALAXE has partnered with the TWA during their conference event. And this is the second year that we've hosted a GALAXE pre-conference event leading up to the kickoff of the TWA conference. So the impact of partnership, as we all know, is profound, and we've seen that with our partnership with the TWA over the past 2 years. And later on in our presentation, we'll see a little bit more about the impact of partnership over the years with LGBT in Rochester. So it'll be exciting for everyone that's local to the area to see the progress that we've made over the years. And the theme of the TWA's conference this year is the modern you, and the heart of the conference is celebrating the past, the present, and the future. So many of you might not know this, but this is actually a milestone year for GALAXE as well. You'll see that we have some 25 years hanging from our balloons up here. So we're also celebrating our silver anniversary. Yes. So that's 25 years of creating a safe and supportive workplace for our lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender employees here at Xerox. So again, I think that deserves one more round of applause. So as we celebrate our silver anniversary and the journey leading up to this milestone, it's important to mention that we do have many of our GALAXE pioneers in the room with us today. Many of our members and our allies that have over the years helped form and shape GALAXE Pride at Work. We have many of our current members, our current board members, our current allies, and some of our customers here today who have helped lead the mission and keep the heart of GALAXE alive. And I think it's poignant that we also celebrate the people that we haven't met, the new faces of GALAXE, the leaders of tomorrow. So, who's that handsome fella? So as you can see, we do have a jam-packed agenda this morning, and we're so excited to jump into it. And the first speakers that we have with us this morning who are going to deliver a welcome message and talk to us, we have Sophie Vandebroek, our Chief Technology Officer, President of XIG and GALAXE's champion. We have Mike Feldman, the President of Large Enterprise Operations and Technology. And we have Damika Arnold with our Corporate HR and Diversity and Inclusion Office. So, Mike, Sophie, and Damika, would you mind joining me up here on the stage? See you.
You want to go? Okay. Oh, you got notes and everything?
I have
you have
notes
notes too.
I have handwritten notes this morning. You have typed notes.
Well, I wanted to make that. Hey,
I
I'm
have
with
it
you
right
guys.
here. I think I'm gonna go third. So.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Eric and John and the whole GALAXE Caucus group for organizing this get-together, this conference. And hi, Scott, in front of the Women's Alliance conference that comes next. I mean, it's thanks to you, your leadership, your role model, your fearlessness, and you working with all the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people around the company that you continue and all of us continue to make a huge, huge difference, not only to the people at Xerox, but to the people in all of our communities in which we have locations or in which we work. I've had the great pleasure to be the champion for the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community at Xerox now for 5 years. I think it's about 5 years. And Rolf was the president at the time, and so the co-president. And it has been an amazingly fascinating journey. So much has happened in the United States, especially for the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community, and also a lot additional. Xerox is already a role model company, and I think we should all reflect and realize how lucky we are to work at Xerox, a company that truly, truly values inclusiveness. And we have also made great progress in the last several years, not only continuing that culture in our traditional Xerox, but also embracing the ACS employees and working with the ACS senior leadership team so that they also achieve a higher and higher human, how is it called, the index, the age, human rights index. We have 100. Does the services business has 100 now too? I think so, yeah. So that's amazing, the journey that was made. So I always say we all have to be able to bring not only our mind or intellect to work, because we're here to do great work, but also our heart and our passion. Because without bringing your heart to work and who you really are, you can't solve the difficult problems. You can't have the passion to continuously push forward and do the work we all do on a daily basis, and especially you can't be an innovator and explore the unknown. So being able to bring yourself, not leaving that at home in the morning when you come to work, not fitting on a suit that doesn't fit for you, but really bring yourself. It's what our culture has been all about and continues to be all about. So I would like to thank all of you to be here, our gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender employees, but also all the allies, because it's only by all of us really continuing to push the system, continuing to point out if there are still issues that remain so we can go fix them, and continuing to embrace inclusiveness that Xerox can continue to thrive and attract amazing people such as Mike, who just joined us from HP. So Mike, you want to introduce yourself? Or Damika?
You can go next.
This was a nice...
Hi, everybody. Well, it's great to be here. So, as Sophie said, I am still relatively new to Xerox. I've been here now, I think, about 7 months, maybe a little bit more. And I'll share a very quick story with you. When I was considering my next opportunity, I was looking at Xerox, of course, but I was also looking at a couple of other companies. And one of the things that was most important to me, very high on my list, was a company that really did value diversity and inclusion. And when I went through the interview process, I interviewed with Ursula and with Bala, who I see here, Armando, Stephen Cronin, of course, Tom Madison, and at the time Luca, and a few other people. And in all of those meetings, I made it a point to mention my partner. And I was really testing to see the reaction I was going to get from the people that I was interviewing with. Was it going to be a reaction of like, what do you mean partner? Like they hadn't really heard of that term. Or was it going to just be something that I could see they were uncomfortable with? Or were they going to engage with me and say, what does your partner do? And just, be very comfortable about it. And I have to tell you, everybody that I met with was very, very comfortable. And I said, this is a place I know that I can be myself, my full authentic self. So I'm thrilled to be here. As you know, I just moved up to the large enterprise position. I'm thrilled to be serving in that capacity and also to be serving on GALAXE as well. So thank you very much and congratulations on 25 years.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I am Damika Arnold with the Office of Global Diversity and Inclusion at Xerox, and I am so delighted to be here today to join in GALAXE's celebration of 25 years at Xerox. At Xerox, diversity and inclusion is more than a goal. It's a corporate-wide objective. We have an ongoing mission here to ensure that we have a work environment where all employees are treated with equality, dignity, and respect. An environment that enriches our employee experience, that broadens our thinking, and enables us to be more innovative in providing solutions to our customers. Now, dating back to the 1960s, our employee caucus groups have actually made a very important progress in helping us shape our diversity journey. They have worked with managers to help achieve common goals and objectives. They've actually worked with their constituency to provide networking opportunities and self-development. And they've also fostered an environment of inclusion. But last but definitely not least is the fact that they've served as catalysts for change. And GALAXE, you are a catalyst for change at Xerox. As a result of your ongoing mission, you have worked with Xerox to better understand the concerns and needs of our gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender employees. Additionally, you've also helped us implement policies, global policies, to ensure that we have a workplace that really is inclusive and that we also offer employee benefit offerings as well to our inclusive workforce. So take a moment and give it up for that. As a result of the Xerox GALAXE partnership, and I'm going to say partnership because that's really what it is, Xerox has been recognized by the Human Rights Campaign to be one of the best places to work for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender employees year after year. And we've consistently received a 100% employee equality index. So I think that's phenomenal, and that's because of your hard work. So on behalf of the Office of Global Diversity and Inclusion, I would like to congratulate you again on your 25th anniversary and thank you for your contributions in making Xerox be recognized as one of the world's most progressive companies. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Sophie, Mike, and Damika for sharing your message with us this morning. So our next speaker is a dynamic keynote presenter with over 25 years of experience working in a variety of settings, ranging from the University of Buffalo, executive MBA programs, higher education, for-profit corporations, and not-for-profit corporations. He is the founder and president of Illuminator Group, a leadership and organizational development consultancy located in Buffalo, New York. Here to share with us Leadership Begins With You, establishing your credibility as a professional, is Frank Chicha.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I hope it's okay that I stand here because rather than me talk to you for 35 minutes, I really would rather this be a conversation for the next 35 minutes on leadership. Leadership is something that I have been doing professionally, going around and really helping to build leaders for several years now, and it's a passion of mine. Whenever we take a job or whenever we go to an organization, one of the things that everyone hopes for is to be working with an exceptional leader, and that leader will help inspire us to be an exceptional leader. Nobody wants a bad boss. Nobody wants that. So I want to have a conversation with you about leadership and really how it applies to you. So I always start with this quote, and I like it. It's by Warren Bennis, and it says, "Leadership is a function of knowing yourself, having a vision that is well communicated, building trust among colleagues, and taking effective action to realize your own leadership potential." So now let me ask you this question. What are some observations you can make, or what are some observations you have about this quote? It's up to you. What else do you notice about this quote? It's a two-way relationship. Very good. Trust it's the foundation for every relationship, building trust. What else do you notice? Yes, have a plan. Action. Yes, communication, action, all the things we're going to be talking about. One thing, if you notice, it doesn't say, is you have to be a manager. That you have to be in a formal position of leadership. That you have to have subordinates. I hate that word. It says nothing about it. See, leadership is really something that every single person does. We lead at all levels of the organization. So let me ask you this question. Raise your hand. How many of you consider yourselves to be a leader? Raise your hand. Wow, this is good. I got leaders today. Those of you on the online and on the phone, almost every hand went up. Typically, I get about half the audience who raises their hand. And then I rephrased the question. I said this: have you ever had to interact with a customer or client and solve a problem? Have you ever had to make a decision without asking your manager? Have you ever had to think about a problem and figure out a way that you're going to solve it in a unique, diverse, and unusual way because there's no rule book telling you how to do it? How many of you have children? You're leading. You're leading. You're leading. You're leading. We lead. Every single time you represent Xerox, you are leading. When you are interacting with the client, the customer, you are Xerox. And you can use your power for good or power for evil. It is your choice. But the key is, it's all about we lead no matter what we do. And I've always gotten asked this question, Frank, are leaders born or made? And I said, that's a question we need to stop asking. Instead, this is the question we need to be asking. What are we doing to make sure we are successful, not if, but when we assume a leadership role? Because throughout our day, we are leading and we are following. No matter what position we have, no matter what we're doing, no matter if it's in our workplace, no matter if it's in our community or at home, we lead throughout our day. And our challenge is to be successful when we do that. I go into companies all the time, and my job is to take people who have never had any leadership development to give them that. Because just because you are a great salesperson does not mean you're going to be a great sales manager. It's a very different skill set. It's a very different skill set. And I know for me, I'm not a young guy. The way I learned how to be a manager was through trial and error. And I made lots and lots and lots of mistakes. And so really, it's about what are we doing to make sure, not if people lead, but when they're leading. And are we investing in them, in their development? I talk with CEOs and especially CFOs all the time, and I go and say, what are you doing to invest in the leadership development of your associates? And they go, oh my gosh, I'm not going to spend all this money investing because I'll invest all this money and then they'll just leave. And my response to that is a little flippant, and I always say this. You could not, the worst thing is, you could not invest in them and then they stay. We have to invest, we have to invest, we have to invest if we expect people to be successful and effective when they lead. Well, you know what? I teach leadership at the MBA level, and it's what I do for a living. And I read. There are more books written about leadership than there are cookbooks. It is the #1 subject written about. And there are countless upon countless surveys that ask the question of leaders in organization, what's the most valuable resource? What's your greatest asset in your organization? And what do you need in order to be able to make sure that your company is not only successful today, but that you have sustainable growth? The number one thing they say that people need today, the leaders of today and the leaders we need for the future, are people who can lead effectively. It's not a warm body in a seat. It's not somebody who can cover a shift. It's not somebody who, well, we just gotta wait until they retire. It's 20 years, but let's just ride it out. It's about people who can lead effectively. It is your most valuable asset. What's your most costly resource in any organization? People. But it's the right people who are doing the right things. It's the people, when they need to lead, have the ability to do so effectively. Well, we spend our entire careers building our reputation. We spend our entire careers building our reputation. And what we refer to that is, we refer to it in the leadership world as our leadership brand. And Norm Smallwood wrote an article in Harvard Business Review, and he said that your brand conveys your identity and your distinctiveness as a leader. It communicates the value that you offer, whether to your workplace, to your community, or to your home life. A strong personal leadership brand allows all that's powerful and effective about your leadership to become known to your colleagues, enabling you to generate maximum value. Focus on this. Become known to your colleagues. We're going to talk about the elements very quickly about what you need that are essential to build your brand. First, it's a professional presence. We'll talk about credibility, having a voice and a point of view, the courage to lead, and finally, the willingness to take initiative. Let's first start with professional presence, and I'm going to call up Eric here because he's going to help be my Vanna White scribe. So this is what I want to do. What I'd like you to do is to first think about this term professional presence. Professional presence, John's going to help too, good. Professional presence is all about how you portray or project yourself in a professional environment. It is the image that you project to others. Would you say that there are positive ways that people project a professional image? And would you say there's maybe negative ways that they do it as well? Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to think of a couple words, adjectives, characteristics, behaviors, traits, that you would say would describe someone who portrays a positive professional presence. Words, characteristics, traits, behaviors that you would consider someone who has a positive professional presence. Think about a couple of those. And we got them? We're going to write those down. Yes?
Lean in.
Lean in. Confidence. Integrity. Listener. Sincere. Approachable. Respectful. Structured. Supportive. Authentic. Remember, this is really words you would use to describe someone who you consider to be professional. What others? Competent. Yes. What? Inspiring. Inspiring. Trustworthy. Proactive. Agile. Is a good example, a good role model. They walk the walk, yes. Flexible. Sincere. Give me one more. Accountable and resourceful. Is your arm tired? Okay, accountable. Role model, agile. Honest, agile. H-O-N, H-O-N, E-S-T, E-S-T, H-O-N-E-S, honest. Okay. You can put a little smiley face after it if you like. Okay, good. All right. Resourceful. Very good. Inspirational. You got it. All right. Very good. Okay. Very good. Woo! Yay! All right. How many of you want to work with this person? What's the impact that the person who demonstrates this behavior has on others? Incredibly positive, right? What is the impact that Xerox would have if everyone in the organization only demonstrated these behaviors and others like them? It would transcend. What would the culture be like? Awesome, right? Awesome. What impact would you have on your clients and customers and those you serve? What would they be saying about you? Wow. What would they be telling other people? Wow. Right? And what about the internal customer? Who's the internal customer? You. What are you saying about it? I want to stay. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Okay, good. All right, let's go to the dark side. Let's go to the dark side. John, you ready? Yes. Okay. I want you to think of words, characteristics, traits, or behaviors of someone that you would consider to be demonstrating a negative professional presence or unprofessional. I know, wait, I'm going to get you it. Really. Okay, can you think of some? Ready? Who's got one? Devious. Doesn't deliver. Shutting down. Insincere. Untrustworthy. Lying. Lying. Insincere. It's all about them. What was yours? Discriminatory. Rude. Unapproachable. Rude, unapproachable. Rude, unapproachable, moody. Condescending. Lazy. I heard negative. Have any of you worked with a negative person? What does that feel like? It's draining, right? Draining. They suck the life out of you. These are the people you go say, wow, you just won the lottery. And they go, damn, all those taxes I have to pay. Right? You can't please them. You just can't. Favoritism. Obnoxious. Give me one more. What? My way or the highway. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Tunnel vision. Give me one more. Bully. Bully. Very good. Very good. Okay. Let me ask you the same question. How many of you want to work with this person? Somebody's got to say, you're okay with that? No. Yeah, you don't want it. You don't want it. Yes. What's the impact that this person will have on others? Low morale, draining, stress, low productivity. Makes you not want to come into the work. In fact, the number one reason why these people leave organizations is because we tolerate the behaviors of these individuals. Now, the thing is, it's not necessarily that this is good person, bad person. I can honestly say there have been times in my career where I've demonstrated some negative behaviors because I was not in a good place. But it didn't mean I'm a bad person. I just took where I was in a bad place to work with me. And quite often, the people that I coach or the people that I mentor, the people that I work with on a regular basis, none of them are bad people. It's just that some of them have fallen into some of these behaviors and it's damaging their brand. It's damaging their reputation. because they're not dealing with the root cause of a problem. But what it does is it ultimately has a negative impact on others around them. What would happen to Xerox if all of the employees within the organization only demonstrated these behaviors? There wouldn't be a Xerox. Right. Right. There wouldn't be one. So it is incredibly important that we think about our behavior. By the way, these behaviors here, are they unrealistic? Are they unreasonable? No, they're not. They're not. We have to choose our own behavior. And the thing is this, is how you act at home is your business. But how you act here representing the brand of Xerox is their business. And it should be your business. So it's really important that part of what establishes your credibility, your brand as a leader, are the behaviors that you engage in every single day. How often do you have to deliver on these behaviors? 80% of the time? 90% of the time? 100% of the time. And it's tough to do. It's tough. But every single time you don't, and you slip here, you open the door for a competitor to step in and take a client away. And you can't do that. Can't do that. You can't. Even the slightest opening allows that to happen. All right. That's professional presence. But this is an important part of professional presence. It's about perception. What's your name?
Jerry.
Jerry. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so I have a Jerry, yes, I know. Thank you, Jerry. Okay. Jerry, can I pick on you for just a second?
Absolutely.
Jerry comes to work every day and he goes, I'm confident, I have integrity, I'm trustworthy, I'm agile, I'm honest, I'm flexible, and I'm sincere. And that's what Jerry thinks of himself. But what's the other half of the equation? What do other people think of Jerry? And should Jerry care? Should he care at all about what other people think of him? Absolutely. Why? Because it will determine what people say about him and how they treat him. And it could be a dose of reality. And if he's thinking it's here, but you're thinking it's there, Jerry's got a blind spot. He's got a blind spot. And as leaders, we point those out. And we do that in a positive way. So we let Jerry know how he is being represented. Because we want Jerry's brand to improve, to be better. Because if his brand is strong, where's Xerox's brand? Xerox is really a collection of people with strong brands who are out there representing it very strong. It's the same thing for GALAXE. You're representing the brand of GALAXE every single time you say, I'm a member, I'm a member, I'm a member. You remember, we said you spend your entire career building your reputation. I refer to it as your reputation 401k. Every single time you do something positive, you add credibility dollars to that bank. But have you ever been in a situation where you've said, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. I need a do-over. I have to now start doing some crisis management. Have you ever? Yes, we've all been there. Every single time we do that, we take a withdrawal. We take a withdrawal. We ding our credibility. We ding our credibility. And a lot of times it's when we're emotional, when we're under stress. It makes us go to the dark side. And at those moments, we take a ding. But when you have, throughout your career, ding upon ding, withdrawal upon withdrawal, withdrawal upon withdrawal, and you're not getting the feedback necessary, and you've got blind spot upon blind spot, and you're like, I don't need to change. I don't need to learn. Eventually, your brand is not a good one. Perception is their reality. It's their reality. So, what we want to talk about is, when we talk about being perceived, we want to make sure that you have a consistent, positive professional presence. But we also want to make sure that you are perceived by others as being credible. One time I got asked in a session, I literally got this question. Somebody said, Frank, as a leader, is it better to be liked or feared? And I was taken back by that. I was like, wow. What do you think my answer was? Neither. Neither. It's not about being liked. It's not about being feared. You are judged and you are perceived as being a leader, remember, at all levels, based on how credible you are. And credibility is two things. It's competence plus character. You have to have both. You have to have both. Competence is about having the knowledge, skill, and ability to do the job. I have the knowledge, I have the skill, I have the ability to do it. Character is about integrity. It's about trustworthiness. It's about approachability. It's about empathy. You have to have both. Now, I have worked with people who were highly, highly competent, smart, genius, great skills, task masters. They were fixers. But they were abrasive, offensive, and domineering to the point where they were bullying. And they lost credibility with others because of that. Nobody wanted to work with them. I've also worked with people who were incredibly nice. They brought donuts into work every day. They remembered they had the birthday lists. They had the birthday list. But don't put a sharp object anywhere near these people. They can't get it done. They don't have the skill or the drive to get the job done, to be competent. And they lose credibility because of that. As leaders, you are judged based on how positive your professional presence is and how credible you are. Competence plus character. That's what you strive for. That's what you want to be doing to keep building dollars, credibility dollars, into that reputation 401k. Another component of building your brand is having a voice, having a point of view. Every single person in this room has a story. Your story tells me about your strengths. It tells me about the challenges you've had to overcome. It tells me about the experiences that are unique to you. It tells me about all of the things that you have done to really, truly become the person that you are today. And so what we have to do is to be able to go and say, this is who I am, and I have to find my voice. I have to find my voice. I had an opportunity to talk with a leader who I have a great deal of respect for. Highly, highly respected individual, worked for major companies. And I asked him, what are the things that you have learned throughout your career that have helped you be as successful as you are? And he said, one is, I know how to get the job done. Competence. The second thing he said is, and was my biggest challenge, I had to learn how to be nice. I had to learn to be nice. And what he was talking about was character. The third thing he said is, you have to learn that having a point of view matters. And it is important to have. It's important to have a point of view. And to be able to articulate that point of view in a positive way. A negative point of view would be, that idea sucks. A positive one says, this is what I like about your idea. And here's some suggestions I have for how it can be better. That's a point of view done in a professional and positive way. It adds energy to a process. This adds energy. That takes it away. The other thing you have to do is, as a leader, you have to be courageous. You have to be courageous. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to get a little personal with you. About 17 years ago, I received a very significant cancer diagnosis. And I tell you that because it's part of my story. And it helped me to develop my point of view and find my voice. And I knew, I'm a pretty tough guy. I knew I had the courage to fight cancer. But what surprised me was that I also found the courage to live my life according to my own expectations and not others. And to build the life that I had always envisioned. I was not out to a lot of people, some of my friends, some of my family, but I was a very different person at work than I was at home. And what I meant, not a different person, depending on how authentic I was and how much I disclosed. Today, it's no different. How I am at home and how I am at work are no different. I am who I am. And I work with clients all over the world. And if I always say, the question I get is people go, does the question of you being gay come out? And I go, not really. They ask about my family and I tell them. Just as when I go and say, tell me about your family, and they tell me. It's a conversation that everyone should just be able to have without fear. And I have it. And I said this, if a client is uncomfortable with that and they don't want to work with me because of it, they're not the right fit for me. They're not. I wouldn't be comfortable working for them either. And I built the life that I'd always envisioned. And I found the courage to do so. And every person has to develop that at some point in their life. If you truly want to lead. So I thank you for letting me share that personal story. You also have to be confident in what makes you unique and the value that you bring, because every person here brings value. Learning to articulate that point of view, as I mentioned earlier, is important. But what's equally important is developing the ability as a leader to listen. To listen. If it's not on there, it was mentioned. You have to listen to the stories of others. But truly listen. Not half listen while you're looking at your phone. Truly listen. And then leaders need to inspire others to express their point of view. One of the most important things that leaders can do is to make new leaders. I know you're a great leader when you can build new ones, when you can help inspire others and to help them find their voice and their point of view. Exceptional leaders also create an environment that allows people and inspires them to be at their best. Their best. As leaders, you are responsible for the culture. You are responsible for the environment. And people want to feel stable and inspired in that environment. And if they are more likely to be true to themselves and find their voice and articulate their point of view. And when they do that, boy, do we add value. So let me ask you this. Do you know when you're at your best? And how much does the environment play into that? You're all not, just so you know, people who are on the webs, on the phone, they're all nodding their heads yes. We also have to think about, how does your brand fit with your organization's brand? And when I say organization, it's not just Xerox. It's the groups that you belong to. It's the things that you say, I am a member of. I have to look for fit. Your brand needs to support, it needs to nourish, it needs to build upon that organization's brand. Well, how does your brand add value to GALAXE? How does your brand add value? I'm going to tell you this, and it's truly what I believe. It is my philosophy on teamwork. Your only choice is whether or not you want to be on the Xerox or the GALAXE team. That's your only choice. I'm on the team or I'm not. But if you make the choice to be on the team, you do not have a choice whether you play or not. I'm from Buffalo, and I'm going to give a sports analogy even though I know nothing about it. I know nothing. Imagine if we had one of our Buffalo Sabres. I think those are the ones with the skates, right? Yeah. Okay. If we had one of our Buffalo Sabres say, oh, I like the uniform. I love the skates, and I love the salary, and I like being on the roster. But I really just don't feel like playing. Can I just sit here? Can I just watch? That's this year's team, yes. And we're a little peeved about that. At least I hear on Facebook. We'd say get off. We'd say get off. Because you're not contributing. You're not adding value. You're not making your brand and your story and your point of view add value to the team. So this is what I'd like you to do. This is the audience participation part of the program. You've been doing a great job thus far. I want you to talk with the person next to you. And I want you to answer this question. What do you think it means to play on the GALAXE team? What do you think it means to be able to play on the GALAXE team? Ready, set, go. Yes, it's being videotaped. Yeah, it is. Yeah. You would ask John or Eric about that, but I know it's being videotaped. Yeah. Okay, let me start. Good conversation going. I know I haven't given you a lot of time, but so let me ask you this. What did you come up with?
You don't know this time.
Oh, you didn't have time. Right. There's a lot involved in it, isn't there? Really? So what do you mean by awareness? Somebody said awareness. What does it mean to play? How does awareness relate to being a... What? Okay, so... Okay, so to create that awareness, right? Articulate. If you see something that's taking place... especially if it's bullying, to be able to speak up and do something about it. Would you say that that's a reasonable thing to do as a member of GALAXE? And an important thing to do? It's a must thing. Very good. Thank you. Who else? Yes?
I was going to say some of us have magnets on our desk so they know that it's safe to come to talk to us if they don't feel safe going to let's say HR.
So now we've created these safe places and we let people know that. And it's important to be able to let people gain the greater awareness around that. What else does it mean to play on the team? Acceptance in what way? Yes. Okay, to be accepting. How do you let people know that you're accepting? Be open and honest. The more authentic you are, that encourages them to be as well. Ask questions. Yeah. You know, the best way to do is you tell them your story and then you ask them to tell theirs. Right. Genuinely concerned. A hand was back there and then I'm going to come here. Yep. Support in what way? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, yes. And look for opportunities to be able to talk more. Not talk less, talk more. Here.
You vote with your feet, right? So just coming today and being in this meeting when I'm up my floor telling my folks that I'm going downstairs to participate in the GALAXE event, right? That lets people know, you know, I'm taking my time, I'm taking my energy, and so this is something I value and I think it's important, and it sends the, you know, lets people know.
And it models the way. I'm coming to this event. I'm voting with my feet. I'm present. This is where I'm going. And encouraging them to do it as well. Was a hand here? No? No?
And being a member myself, it's more like a safe place to, a safer place to go, and things like that, a place to belong. I mean, you have your Xerox family, but there's the GALAXE family. It's a deeper level.
Yes. So it's creating that GALAXE family. It's that place of belonging. It creates community. Creates community. Bring your brand to the team. Thank you, Jerry. I truly believe you are that. No blind spot. That's it. If you're not utilizing your strengths to help the team or the organization that you are a member of, then really, truly, what you're doing is you're hurting it. You're hurting it in the long run because it's not being able to tap into that value. It's not. It's unused potential. It's value that you're leaving on the table.
It's taking the responsibility to be authentic.
Yes. To be authentic.
Back in the closet, but to really take the responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you try to do that day in and day out.
Yes. Is anybody typing in or calling in that wants to add as well? I know we have a number of people who are on phones and online. I feel like I'm a talk show host right now. Yes. Okay, quiet. And we have what? Yes.
Yeah, I think for the academics, it's clearly changing your language. I mean, when you talk about diversity, Xerox has a culture of diversity for decades.
Right.
We talk about gender and race and age and
Yes.
etc., but always add gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender.
Yes.
Just making it part of the dialogue.
Yes.
And also changing, always talking about partner, or now in New York we can say spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure you use more neutral
Yes.
language so that people can open up and listen to it.
Yes.
And that's being part of the GALAXE.
Exactly. As an ally, how do I contribute? What do I do? I'm part of the dialogue. How do I get engaged? This is one of the things we know about teamwork. What we know is this. When people have not defined and articulated their role on the team, they are very likely to become apathetic and a bystander. So the challenge to you, whether it's GALAXE, whether it's TWA, whether it is Xerox in general, clearly defining your role and then articulating how does your brand add value to the organization that you have chosen to be a member of. You've got to define your role. That's what leaders do. That's what leaders do. You need to learn the organization's mission and identify your role to support it. Leaders have the ability to take initiative and influence others to act. Leaders tell themselves, I need to do something about it. I need to do something about it. In fact, I had an opportunity to talk on the phone with some of the former co-presidents of GALAXE. And the common theme was this. In fact, I changed the quote based on the quote that they gave me. I need to do something about this. That's why I got involved. That's why I got involved. And to demonstrate that, I'd like to do a little activity with you. I have to warn you, it's a little hokey. But if you're okay with hokey, you'll love it. You'll love it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of walk around a little bit, so the guys with the camera, I'm going to walk around. This is what I want you to do. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Now, some of you have had them closed already, but now I'm going to give you permission to do so. Okay? In a moment, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And then you can open your eyes and you can stand up when you feel a tap on your shoulder, just like I'm doing. You can open your eyes and you can stand up when you feel a tap on your shoulder, just like I'm doing. Got that? Okay, everybody close your eyes. No peeking. Everybody's eyes are closed. You can open your eyes and you can stand up when you feel a tap on your shoulder, just like I'm doing. Just like I'm doing. You can open your eyes and you can stand up when you feel a tap on your shoulder, just like I'm doing. Just like I'm doing. You can open your eyes and you can stand up when you feel a tap on your shoulder, just like I'm doing. Just like I'm doing. Okay. I would like everybody at this point to open their eyes. Everybody open their eyes. Those of you that are standing up, who tapped you on the shoulder? Everybody sit down. Look, I told you it was a little hokey, didn't I? Don't fault me for that. I told you it was. I know. You're going to go home and you're going to try it with people. I know it. I know you are. I know you are, and you can. How many of you at the start of this activity was expecting me to come and tap you on the shoulder? Right? You thought I was going to tap you. So what's the moral of the story here? He doesn't have the capacity. Yeah. There's two lessons in this. There's two lessons in this. One is, we all have hopes, dreams, and aspirations. We all have a life that we envision. And if we're waiting for somebody else to come and deliver that to us, we may be sitting in that chair with our eyes closed for a long time. The second thing is this. The difference between leading and following is this. Leaders see a need for change, and they do something about it. They do something about it. So when we go back to thinking about what are the things to build your brand that you spend your entire career building, is this. You have to have a positive professional presence that you are demonstrating each and every day, 100% of the time. Because if you don't, you're opening the door for somebody else to come in and say, we're better. The second thing you have to do is make sure that you are not only seeing yourself, but that you are being perceived by others as being credible, possessing both competence and character. You have to find your voice. You have to have a point of view. And you have to, as a leader, learn good listening skills so that you can hear the stories of others. You have to have courage. That means maybe sometimes you have to be vulnerable, just like I opened myself up today. You also have to make sure that you can't wait to be tapped. You have to be able to tap yourself so that you are doing those things that you believe are truly the right things to do and that are making the changes that are necessary. It's important to do that. And when you do, not only does your brand, you got a lot of money in that 401k, a lot of credibility bucks there. but boy, are you going to enhance the brands of any organization you belong to, GALAXE or Xerox. That's all I have for you, so I want to thank you very much for letting me come and share my insight with you. I'm going to turn that over. How did I do on time? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great job, Frank. Thank you very much. I'm going to tap my shoulder the whole way out of here, so I hope everyone else will do the same. I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, who's no stranger to anyone in this room today. I'd like to welcome John Curtis to the stage.
And this is awesome. This is awesome for all of you taking the initiative, joining us here today. We have a tremendous set of things that we're celebrating both this week, next week, GALAXE and our 25 years. But one of the things that I continue to be amazed by as I've been part of this organization for those 25 years is to never doubt all of the people who felt that tap on the shoulder, who've stood up and said, I can do something. I can change the world. And we've done that. We've seen that in small ways, in individual relationships and connections we've made, and in this organization, in the evolution of equality and inclusion in our business. But it goes back to a couple of guys who started it all. And what I thought was interesting, if you saw, there was an interview on PBS with Ursula, and our local public television station started with the history, the invention of xerography. But part of what they pointed out is what Chester Carlson did wasn't necessarily new. He created an innovation. Something was there, and he knew there was something there. He just had to keep working, and he failed, but he kept pushing. He met a man named Joe Wilson, and it took the two of them. It took Joe and his vision, and they were mocked. They were told the time wasn't right. Don't push this. There's not enough demand. It'll never go anywhere. You shouldn't explore this. But the other thing that Joe Wilson brought was a set of values that 75 years later still absolutely resonate and inform what we do. GALAXE has benefited from that. We've been recognized here in Rochester in a landmark documentary that just premiered last week. And part of what was amazing was to see their response to our archive materials, our story. Our partners across the river, Kodak and Bausch & Lomb and the other companies, we all were evolving together. Kodak had a group similar to GALAXE called Lambda Network at Kodak, and you'll hear some of the descriptions. We're getting a sneak preview. It's only the third time this has been shown. We're going to show you a little clip around the corporate equality story that they're sharing. But listen to this story and hear it as ours. The trials and tribulations people talked about, we lived with. The fears that people had, and in some cases still have in workplaces today, are still barriers, but we've got an opportunity to keep making that change better. So if we could, I'd like to watch a little piece of Shoulders to Stand On. Both in Rochester and in technology companies, there was starting to evolve a set of companies. There was Xerox and some of us and Kodak and some people, and they were pushing some of the boundaries and saying, wait, that we should have some parity in benefits and offerings, some recognition and some protection in the workplace.
We actually started to form the business case for the network. Why was the company going to benefit by this? So people could bring their whole selves to work. They could fully participate in the workplace.
It's really evolved into, this is both allowing employees to bring our head and our heart, our mind and our intellect and our creativity, and why wouldn't you want to tap into that? In fact, you're losing out on that if you constrain us.
We wanted to show specifically that we could actually drive the bottom line, grow it in different ways.
Some of it was, testing the waters. A lot of it was difficult because being in the closet, as many of us were, then you had to make that decision. Who and when were you going to come out? Was it safe?
And we had enough examples of things that had happened and were happening that were depressing that bottom line as a result of people making remarks, not engaging people fully, not using inclusive language.
The biggest challenge that I remember was figuring out, how do we find the gays? How do we find the lesbians?
First time I heard about Lambda was I was at work, and at my office, it was a cubicle, and the person who shared the wall of the cubicle on the other side ran the IT department for that organization I was working in. And one day I'm in my office working, and I hear someone come in and say to him, "You're never going to guess what's going on. Kodak's going to have a gay network."
We were able to convince Kodak that Lambda Network needed a computer bulletin board so that we could post messages that related to our group, meeting notices, meeting notes.
When we went live in the company, we had these electronic bulletin boards. And when we went live, people came out of the woodwork and attacked the formation of the network using some pretty vile language, and also adding threats, physical, violent threats of death to the people in the network. And the bulletin board came down in one day.
With support from people like yourselves, the Lambda Network has made milestones in the acceptance of gay and lesbian people in the workplace.
When I first got involved with the network, it was early on, and it was in it had what called the steering committee. So there was a group of people that were working on what is that network going to be, what will it stand for. The company asked for some specific documents, like a mission statement and some bylaws.
I met Emily Jones, Catherine Rivers, David Cosell, and it was a great organization, and I got on the board of directors. They invited me to be on the board of directors. And we're doing some reorganization, and so, I said, well, I've always considered myself a part of the gay community. Ever since I've come out, I felt very comfortable. It's sometimes nice to have my part of the gay community spelled out when we're talking about what we're working for. So I suggested they put gender expression and identity into the bylaws.
One of the best things I think we ever did was we started those conversations, and we've continued it to today, with personal stories.
I want to introduce you to the shoulders that you stand on. I'd like all our current, past board presidents, executives, champions who've worked with us, Diane, everyone, please recognize all these shoulders. Thank you, Martin. Okay. And there's more. Thank you all so much. All right. These are the people who've evolved this culture, who've made this the best places to work for equality, who've made this a place where we keep and retain talent, where we attract new talent, where we're able to say, both here and in Canada with pride, And our leaders demonstrate that. Every one of these people are leaders who've demonstrated that over the years and helped us see a vision of what could and should be. And all of you as allies who see and support that and own that as your personal mission as well. So thank you. They're going to make my job very easy because all our leaders really helped touch earlier on Damika's message, but much of what GALAXE does, we try again to make sure we're aligned to the key goals of the business. How do we make sure what we're doing both for our LGBT employees but also for our allies help ensure a place, first of all, that's safe. That's crucial for anyone. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You've got to always feel safe. And then we can work on inclusion. Then we can work on the other aspirational goals. We reach out and partner with so many organizations. And we're reaching out within the company to GIS, to our new services employees. We've done over 130 LGBT 101 and executive ally sessions with chief operating officers, HR leaders, and others in the business. And I'll extend the offer to you. All of our GALAXE board are available. We have a quick 30-minute session that we can deliver in any team meeting, in any management meeting, if that's ever an opportunity that will help you or your teams. And then we support the communities where we live and work, so we don't just do this ourselves. We reach out and we learn from others. We go out and share willingly with others. We go out and help in charitable ways, and we use that as part of our own education, but also our networking and our social interactions so that we can give back. Some of the ways we do that, just yesterday was Spirit Day, around the world celebrating and focusing on bullying of LGBT youth. The It Gets Better project, one of our best evenings, after a board strategy session Sophie helped us host in Boston, we had dinner at her home, and we all recorded our own It Gets Better video. And I've got to tell you, Frank was talking about your story. If you haven't thought about your story, how impactful it is to look back and just honor what you've done and how far you've come, and you've survived, you've thrived. Image Out, Out and Equal, our local regional affiliate, as well as many of you, our allies as well as our employees, have come to look forward in Rochester for 20 years. We've supported AIDS care in wrapping holiday packages of items that people living with HIV and AIDS can't provide. But it's also fun things. We put in some holiday cards and some holiday candy, but it's our time to get together as well. 4,000 boxes over 20 years. Xerox boxes, each one wrapped up, you can see in the piles behind us, but it's also time where teams have built that now into team building and come together on a Saturday to start the holiday season. I've got to tell you, there's nothing to fire up your spirit like that. And I should acknowledge, part of our guests in that reaching out today, we have friends from Trillium Health. The new AIDS care has evolved in the Rochester area to become a full LGBT healthcare organization that can help focus on having doctors and professional care that allows you to be yourself and be authentic when you go talk with your doctor or look for services. Thank you guys for joining us. Out and Equal has been a key part of our learning and our sharing, so it goes both ways. We've supported them. We are looked to from external organizations. The Human Rights Campaign and Empire State Pride Agenda contact us and reach out to us asking for our voice and our advocacy. Our teams reach out. Our team in Canada had their own Spirit Day, you'll notice all purple, and Ryan Crozier and the team, there's 15 of the folks in Nova Scotia who are on, or New Brunswick, I'm sorry, in our New Brunswick office. And they're listening in today as a group, but they went one better. They took that ownership and leadership. They had a diversity open house for the hour before leading into this conference. So they're online. Thank you, guys. again, recognition that comes unexpected. We were acknowledged for our Executive Ally Program. An external leadership organization said, how impactful is it that Xerox has reached out, that GALAXE is leading this? It's not something that had to be built. Internal to our HR leadership, we created and have been rolling that out. As well as Out and Equal, again, featured our great friend Julie Hogan, who's now gone on to NCR, is featured in a publication From Closet to the Corner Office that highlights executives who have been authentic, who've gone through their journey and their struggles along the way in the corporate environment. Mike Feldman is featured as well in that. And they're going around as well sharing their stories. It's back to those personal stories as well as the impact that we all can make. In so many ways, when we go through our leadership, our code of conduct, and we certify and sign off, you may not have paid attention to sexual orientation, gender identity. On our websites, in our non-discrimination statements, worldwide, globally, as Damika pointed out, Xerox has made sure that these are our values, and sometimes that's a struggle to live up to what those values call us to do, but we've got to do that, and we've got to ensure that safety for our employees and for new groups who join our organization. I want to share especially a series of thank yous to an evolution we've had around self-ID, self-identification. You can't find lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender employees unless we identify to you. And in our HR systems and our tools and our employee surveys, we've never been able to find, let alone hear the voice of LGBT employees. We can, thanks to work that started in Canada, Martin, the team, were willing to start a pilot to say, let's ask, let's allow people as part of the Voice Employee Survey to go on and identify what their work environment is like around diversity and respect in the workplace. Damika looked at the results of that. The team in Canada was processing through that results, and that's now incorporated globally. It's been expanded to every organization. So one of our awards, and for the sake of time, we'll present these later, but we truly want to recognize Sue Mayran, Ralph Carter, please stand at least and be recognized, and Damika. Again, this was a multi-year journey to go out and find the best practices, to find a way to do this, to work and brainstorm and to pause and reflect on it and change it and make it better until we were ready and take that forward, and then to continue to take that forward and build. It's not so wonderful an environment. For all the success and joy that we're feeling in the U.S., Canada has been ahead of us. Again, role models who help show the way in equality. But even in the United States, there are still 30-plus states where you could be discriminated. You could be fired simply because someone chose to discriminate against you for being lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender, or even perceiving that you are, bullying you because they thought you were. And you could lose your livelihood. Around the world, if it's not green, it's scary. You can be imprisoned, you can be detained crossing borders, you could be harassed, you could be put to death simply for being lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. Again, part of what Xerox offers is, at least in our workplaces, that's a safe, reliable environment. When employees leave, that may be a tougher community or culture that they go into, and even in the EU, there's some legal protections, but it's not necessarily always going to be safe, or in the legal system that you will be recognized and honored. This is our marriage equality album, our family album. And there's many other stories behind this, but it starts on that journey. It starts with that set of willingness to stand up, to take a voice, and Xerox did that with us time and time again when we've been called upon to be corporate advocates. When the key evolution was in the Supreme Court, and we would bring forward requests from key legal firms from the Human Rights Campaign that had been vetted, but then we had to review them. Every time we asked, Xerox stood with us. They reviewed it with an open mind and supported the simple right to marry the person you love. Can't be denied. Now, state by state, we're working and evolving that. But then they went on to say, and that means there should be federal protections and equality in our benefits. That's setting the stage, and those ripples are going around. This change, who could have imagined 3-5 years ago that we would have had this breakthrough? Who would imagine that we could sit there and honor the families that we love, and that we would be honored by the communities and our local and national government? So, yes. So we also want to honor and acknowledge Michelle Waits is being deposed, couldn't be with us today because she's tied up in the legal system right now. But Michelle, Don, Lou, and Sophie, so again, every time we've brought forward and analyzed a case, screened it ourselves and then brought it forward and asked, we've had that support. And then down to filing friend of the court briefs were enshrined in the archives of the Supreme Court as a friend of the court. Xerox was willing to stand up and sign on, so thank you. All of you, again, one of the groups we partner with is Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, but your voice is as authentic as ours. In fact, many of you are owners of this as well. You can help by sharing your voice in places where we may not be engaged. Or you may be in simple conversations. You may have family members you love. You may have community organizations, or you hear a joke. So some simple steps that we ask you to join and partner with. Get informed, get educated, to have that voice, and then be willing to speak up. Be honest. Sounds familiar. You know, how do we all be individual leaders? And then if you are ready, you can learn more, you can ask more questions, that's always great. But support equality, and then come out. Be willing to share, as BJ shared. Where are you going today? What did you learn today? Who were you with? How did that touch and impact and inform you? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people are also women. Our lesbian sisters are part of the Women's Alliance. Our people of color may also be LGBT. We participate with a number of groups. Part of what Xerox services and part of our blending is we're looking at, they have caucus and diversity groups they're forming around people with disabilities and veterans. Another seed change in the U.S., don't ask, don't tell. There were a lot of veterans who were driven out of the military who lost their careers simply for being who they were, or someone who was driven out who was accused of being, whether they were or not. Thankfully, we partner with all these groups, and we want to help. Again, our cause is common amongst all of us. What are we looking for? We're looking for careers that add value, for lives that we value, for families and the opportunity to thrive. So part of that collaboration, we're thrilled, it's our second year. Last year in Chicago, one of our biggest GALAXE chapters, it just made sense. We worked with Kelly Morgan, with the leadership of TWA, and we said, we think this could be a great opportunity for us to join forces and work together, share in workshops and our learning and networking. And then this year, it just made sense for Rochester to continue that partnership and to continue to do that. And then we've continued through the year. We had a keynote speaker that we helped identify, Cindy Solomon, who's a fantastic leader with a message around courage. And TWA brought her back, and she's done follow-on webinars about finding a culture of courage and using that for yourself. Partnering together with Linda Fairchild and TWA around executive interviews. And one of our biggest demands for all that was from management teams and executive leaders who were like, how do we communicate and how do people expect? BJ Davis was on our panel and helped say, I think people are thinking about this. I think this might be something that adds value. And it absolutely got one of the highest ratings and responses in participation. And I'm teasing you a little because part of our collaboration this year, celebrating the 25th anniversary, we're hosting a workshop in the late afternoon session, not for the morning, but to help celebrate a little. We're in New York, Finger Lakes wine country, so we're going to host a wine and chocolate pairing featuring hedonist artisan chocolates, as Xerox employee Zara Langford is one of the co-owners and founders of that. And so if you have chocolate and you have some wine, you'll have to find out. So with that, let me introduce a great friend personally, but also to GALAXE, Linda Fairchild, on behalf of the Women's Alliance Executive Board.
So just before Linda comes up, don't you go too far. I just wanted to, keeping up with the theme of celebrating the past, the present, and the future, I'm going to read this because I want to get this right. I want to take a minute and recognize you, John, for the many contributions that you've made to our organization over the years. So over the past 20 years, John Curtis has played an instrumental role from the early evolution of LGBT diversity at Xerox and GALAXE Pride at Work. He's orchestrated senior leadership diversity roundtables and has been instrumental in the development of Xerox corporate diversity programs and policies. For the past 2 years, John has been the president of the executive board of GALAXE, and he continues to create LGBT awareness and inclusivity across Xerox and beyond. His commitment and passion for diversity and inclusion is obvious to anyone that speaks to him. GALAXE's very own champion, ally, and friend, Sophie Vandebroek, shared, John Curtis is a totally amazing guy and a huge, huge champion for the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community, both at Xerox and externally. John's endless energy, big smile, passion, and commitment to making Xerox and our communities a better place is enormous. John will not take no for an answer. He is fearless. He is fearless in how he approaches anyone who can help. I saw this during the many Executive Ally LGBT 101 sessions over the last couple of years, where John seamlessly interacted with several corporate vice presidents and got them to publicly sign up to become an ally of the LGBT community. John's passion is getting the word out, not only in person, but on his own Facebook page, as many of you do know, on the GALAXE Pride at Work Facebook page, and on YouTube and any other channel he can find. In addition, he has a beautiful family and is raising 2 wonderful boys. He is a true role model for all LGBT people at Xerox. So John, on behalf of all of our GALAXE members and allies over the past 25 years, thank you for everything you did yesterday, everything you do today, and everything you'll do tomorrow. So with that, Linda Fairchild, I'm sorry to...
What am I supposed to do with this? I have papers. Good afternoon. My name is Linda Fairchild, and as you can see from the titles that we have up here, I work in our pricing and contracting organization, and I heard an AGM say the other day that I had probably provided contract terms or pricing to every customer east of the Mississippi, whereupon I went and took a nap. I've been with Xerox for 36 years, and during that time I've had the pleasure to become a straight ally of the GALAXE organization. And I'm pleased once again to thank the GALAXE organization and welcome you to join us at the TWA Women's Conference that is taking place over at the Radisson this weekend. It's our 25th conference. I'm proud to say I've been to most of them. And it's hard to believe that our founding mothers, which is what we call the group of women that put this organization together, came up with this idea very fittingly in someone's kitchen, and it has grown to the 25 conferences that we have taken place in today. This is our second year of having GALAXE partner with us, and we hope it continues for many more years. On September the 12th of this year, I was in my car driving the very long distance of 20 miles in an hour and a half from my house here in the Washington, D.C. area to our Tysons Corner office. And as I usually do, I was listening to National Public Radio in a program called Fresh Air. And that day, the interviewee was Billie Jean King. And because I got to sit in traffic for a very long period of time, I got to hear the entire interview. The topic of conversation revolved mostly around her match with, in their words, the self-proclaimed male chauvinist pig, Bobby Riggs, since this is the 40-year anniversary of that match. The lead up to this match was riddled with comments that would make all of us cringe today. Bobby Riggs said to Johnny Carson that he liked women in the bedroom and the kitchen. Howard Cosell said that Billie Jean would be an attractive young lady if she would let her hair grow down to her shoulders and have it styled like Farrah Fawcett. Now, if there was anybody on the planet that should not mention hair, it would have been Howard Cosell. He even went on to say that if she took her glasses off, that she could be someone attractive enough to compete for a Hollywood screen test. All comments that today would cause all of us to be a lot more vocal about just how insulting we would find them. Today, although we remember the battle of the sexes, we've not forgotten that Billie Jean King won 20 Wimbledon singles titles. She also led an uprising of underpaid women players to demand fairer treatment and compensation in professional tennis. Those subjects, as well as Billie Jean King's painful outing as a lesbian in 1981, were all discussed. She even admitted to being fearful and homophobic herself. She wanted to go public. Her lawyer and her publicist advised her to not do it. And she decided to put together a press conference because of something that her parents taught her. And that was to thine own self be true. To do the right thing, even if it wasn't popular. She was threatened with lawsuits and a possible exposure to out her. She was risking her relationship with her family, and she was married at the time. None of this was going to make her popular, and she was going to lose a large number of endorsements. But she went through with it anyway. Thank goodness there's a much happier ending to this story. Today, Billie Jean and her partner have been together for 34 years. It's been hard, and it was terrible for her partner, Alani. But they're happy, and they still have each other. As time has passed over the last 40 years, I'm proud to live in a world where we can work for a company like Xerox that does not tolerate comments like you heard me say from 40 years ago today about Billie Jean. Where we can all live and work in an environment that's comfortable regardless of your gender or sexual orientation. Where we can acknowledge trailblazing leaders and women like Billie Jean King. It's not perfect, but it gets better all the time. It's up to each and every one of us to see to that and have it continue to get better. Thank you for joining us for our 25th conference. We look forward to partnering with you again And we look forward to seeing you, if you can't attend this year's conference, to please attend next. Thanks again. And the answer to your last question is Charleston, South Carolina. That's where the accent's from.
So that concludes our program this morning. I want to thank all of you for joining us here in person, and I want to thank all of you that have dialed in virtually and been with us today. So let's have one last round of applause for all of our speakers, for Sophie, Mike, Damika, Frank, John, and Linda. So we will be concluding the webcast portion at this point. So for everyone that dialed in, thank you very much and have a great weekend.